Welcome to a new video with the electric trucker. It's Sunday evening and I'm heading to Austria up the Großglockner with this DAF XF electric with a 525 kilowatt-hour LFP battery pack and an ePTO. Here is my curtainside trailer and let me show you what's inside. There's a Manitou forklift. These are serious heavy-duty machines. There are 2 or 3 battery-buffered fast charging stations as well that need to get to the top of the mountain for a testing event. And a standard truck-mounted forklift can't handle those, which is why we brought this Manitou Transit. It's 11:30 at night and we're at 86% battery because I used the truck for the festival last week. The load needs to go up the Großglockner and has to be there at 7:30 in the morning. On this kind of schedule is always tricky with your circadian rhythm, so instead of waking up in the middle of the night, I'm leaving in the evening and drive as long as I feel like and lie down for a few hours in between. I drove up there once before with an e-Actros, but I think back then I was carrying one less charging station. The good news is that I have complete flexibility with my schedule because I'm allowed to drive through the night. In Austria, there's a night driving ban for trucks, but that doesn't apply to electric trucks. On the flip side, that means that rest stops are packed with trucks and I might not find a spot to take my rest break or charge. I planned to park in second row, but a driver just came up and said he's pulling out right now. I got really lucky. We're at 62% and I'm going to top the battery all the way up. The Großglockner High Alpine Road is no joke and the truck is pretty heavy. I've had experience taking it up a mountain before, so I want to be fully prepared. There's 0 people charging here at night and I also got lucky with the charger location. It's right in front of the height restriction barrier. I'll get the battery topped up, lie down for a quick nap, and then we'll see how the day unfolds. There's been some exciting developments with the eTrucker app that I wanted to share with you. We're in the app and at the top you'll find the usual quick filters. You can filter by whether you can park with a trailer or stay overnight at the charging location to finish your daily driving time. We've also overhauled the operator filter. You can now create custom filters, select specific operators and save them under custom names. For instance, favorite operators with trailer. You can also choose to display all operators. In the top right, there's a new filter that we'll cover in a moment, but first let's look at a killer feature that makes daily operations so much easier, route planning. I'll select a recent destination. The app calculates a 7-hour drive, which exceeds a single driving shift since drivers are capped at 4.5 hours. So I'll add a charging stop. The app automatically recognizes that this site requires uncoupling the trailer, so it factors in extra time for unhooking and rehitching compared to drive-through charging stations. The leg breakdown works out perfectly. 3 hours and 17 minutes for leg 1 and 3 hours and 53 minutes for leg 2. At the bottom, it displays the estimated time of arrival. It even triggers an automated congestion warning indicating potential wait times at Salzburgen due to high station utilization, suggesting alternative nearby sites if time is tight. It calculates an arrival at 9:42 p.m., automatically factoring in 45 minutes of charging plus 8 minutes for uncoupling. If you manually extend your planned charging time, say by an hour for a full charge, the ETA updates instantly. If you have an 11 p.m. delivery window, you can immediately see that you can charge for 2 full hours and still arrive on time. If you add a standard custom waypoint instead of a charger, you can toggle whether it's a charging pause or just a route waypoint, allowing you to pass precise time of arrival to dispatch or customers. Even for diesel truck drivers, no standard navigation tool offers this level of granular shift and stop planning. Now, let's clear the route and talk business. Logistics is all about cost efficiency. We've proven that electric trucks can handle the routes, but managing charging costs is crucial. Energy prices vary wildly depending on a fleet's specific charging cards and bilateral contract terms with network operators. That brings us to the 4th filter in the top right, fleet integration. Instead of requiring drivers to register via email, we built a direct smartphone-to-fleet pairing mechanism. A driver simply generates a temporary pairing code in the app and passes it to dispatch via phone, chat, WhatsApp or email, or shows it in person on their first day. Dispatch enters this code into the eTrucker Manager portal, where all company charging cards, bilateral contracts and fleet parameters are stored and the app pairs instantly. When active, this filter displays only the charging sites covered by the fleet's negotiated bilateral contracts and issued charging cards. Each charging hub is assigned a clear price category from A to D. Drivers can filter by category, such as displaying only category A and B sites, making cost-effective choices straightforward without needing to memorize variable per kilowatt-hour rates, which can be interpreted subjectively. Selecting the location shows the exact authorized payment method. Use your e-trucker key fob on your keychain. The MAN charge and Go card is also accepted, but carries higher rates. Do not use it. For operators like Aral, where roaming rates fall into Category D, the app directs the driver to authorize with the physical Aral card instead of a roaming card. By giving drivers clear, fleet-aligned guidelines on where to stop and how to authorize charging, companies can operate electric fleets with maximum cost efficiency. If you're a logistics operator looking to integrate these tools across your fleet and dispatch systems, reach out to us at app@electrotrucker.de. The truck is charged to 100%, and there was also a Ford F-150 Lightning charging at the site. I snapped a photo because the driver was using a third-party CCS2 to CCS1 adapter. Now we are taking country back roads to reach the base of the high alpine road. And here comes another electric truck. Isn't that wild? These electric trucks are out on the road generating revenue right now, while all the diesel trucks are stuck parked at rest stops due to night driving bans. We're on the high Alpine road, and you can already see parts of the mountains. We just passed a large sign stating that the road doesn't open until 5:30, and it's currently just past 4:30. When I arrive at the gate in about 10 kilometers, I'll still have around 45 minutes to wait. I think I'll pull over and lie down for a quick nap, and then drive right up as soon as it opens. I'm about an hour and a half to 2 hours ahead of schedule now. This is funny though, the remaining range display is in freefall. The DAF handles this climb with absolute ease. I'm still driving in eco mode since we're in no rush. The truck isn't light either, so it's doing an impressive job. I wouldn't be driving up much faster in a diesel truck. From a physics standpoint, my previous trip up here was more interesting because I drove up empty and regenerated energy, carrying a full load on the way back down. This time it's the exact opposite. I'm hauling a lot of mass up the mountain and leaving it at the summit, which means I won't be able to recover all the potential energy I'm investing on the climb, but someone else will get to enjoy that downhill energy later. We only have 6 kilometers left to the top and still have 48% battery remaining. We are definitely going to make it without issues. Krimelix is out exploring the Großglockner. The weather is absolutely gorgeous early this morning. There also isn't much traffic yet, so you can really soak in the views. The truck is parked and the charging stations are set up. Someone from the local grid operator just arrived to hook them up to the transformer station. Behind us you can see a masked prototype from AMG. They aren't just testing EVs here, but combustion engines as well. Testing combustion engines at high altitude is critical because they suffer from power loss due to thin air at over 2,000 meters above sea level. The engines start struggling with airflow, a problem electric vehicles don't face at all. I definitely need to ride this mountain pass route again on the Honda. Electric motorcycles even get discounted toll rates here, so I'll definitely have to take advantage of it. With weather like this, there are certainly worse places to be a truck driver. Now I'm going to take a short walk with the dog and lie down for a nap after. Number 2 out of 3. These units are extremely heavy. The Scholl-E charging stations are set up specifically to power test prototypes running up and down the mountain pass. I managed to get a bit of sleep. It didn't make up for the missed rest, but I'm feeling relatively refreshed. Earlier, Krumelix and I hiked up the trail over there, which was really picturesque. The charging stations will remain up here for the entire week. My next assignments take me to Bolzano and then further south to Trento in Italy. So I'll drive down the south side of the mountain pass until I'm past the southern toll station. Once down, I'll pull over at a quiet spot for the night. That gets me back onto a normal daytime routine. Traffic has thinned out now that most of the motorcyclists have headed home, which gives me space to take the tight roads safely, as a full-size truck requires using the entire width of the road. We're climbing even higher, and there is another charging station. Unfortunately, I have to use the mechanical brakes here because the DAF's electric motor is too small to recover all the energy. Same-day return through the toll gate is free of charge. It was definitely a smart move to drive down this evening. Otherwise, I would have to pay another €145 toll fee tomorrow morning and another charging station. This is my lovely spot for the night. It's slightly on an incline, so I lowered the rear air suspension a bit. There's a nice bench behind the truck and a fantastic view directly into the mountains. I passed a few really nice spots on the way here, but I kept driving because I thought there's got to be an even better one. But of course, that's never guaranteed. If you spend all your time searching for the hare in the soup, you'll end up missing out on the soup altogether. Sometimes you just have to be content with what you got. But I'm very happy with this spot. It's going to be a peaceful, restful break, and tomorrow morning we'll continue. This morning I wasn't sure what to do. The TomTom truck navigation tried to send me on a massive detour around the mountains, forcing me to cross-check with Google Maps, which is always a bit risky because you never know if a road has weight or height restrictions. Making a run for it through the mountains without charging first was way too risky. Another option was taking the long way around via Udine. Google Maps showed an Ionity charger on that route, but it isn't accessible with a trailer attached, and the detour would have added about 150 kilometers. For a moment I was completely stuck. But then I reminded myself, you always have to make a decision, because choosing not to decide is still a decision. It just means you're letting circumstances decide for you, which rarely turns out well. Charging infrastructure in Austria is generally more reliable than across the border in Italy. I searched around Lienz and found a 300 kilowatt charger. Dropping the trailer in this industrial area wasn't easy, but it worked out. The takeaway is that you have to take decisive action. If you don't make a decision, someone or something else will make it for you sooner or later. Trust your gut, weigh the scenarios carefully, and take action, because standing still and doing nothing is never an option. It turns out there was a charging station right here in this tiny little town, and with a bit of luck, you actually could have parked a truck here to charge. I just received an update that the partial load pickup from Belluno was cancelled. That doesn't change much for me at this point since I'm almost through the stretch anyway. I'll just drive straight through Belluno and head on to Trento. It's 35 degrees Celsius here in Trento. The air conditioning is running at full blast. I'm loading up 15 Alpitronic 400 kilowatt hyperchargers. They need to go back to Germany. Now check out this cool detail. This is a new Krone curtain side trailer and the curtain glides buttery smooth. You can pull it open with a single finger. It's every electric trucker's dream. On some brand new Schmitz trailers, you have to throw your entire body weight into it just to pull the curtain back. Krone just nailed the design here. When a truck driver has to do this multiple times a day, a smooth curtain system alone is practically enough reason to buy one. I'm in Bolzano and I'll end my day early here. Finding a truck parking spot later in the evening is nearly impossible. I got lucky this time, but parking conditions will only get worse over the next few hours. And since I drive an electric truck, Austria's night driving ban doesn't apply to me, meaning I can leave very early tomorrow morning. I'm charging at this Alpitronic 1000 kilowatt charging hub with 2 dispensers. It is scorching hot out here, and there's no driver lounge or shelter, just a water refill station. You could argue that it isn't always this hot, but summer heat waves are becoming a regular thing. Sitting here in the blazing sun with the dog is a bit of a dilemma. Yesterday evening, I saw a lowliner MAN ETGX with an enclosed car transporter and Italian plates. Those closed auto transporters have such a clean, sleek look, and driving one of those used to be my dream. Driving a wide variety of trucks on different routes turned out to be much more versatile and entertaining, but seeing those early electric car haulers out on the road brings it all full circle. As for today, the weather is stunning and traffic has been light. The first leg is done and I'm having my last charging session in Austria. I stopped at a little Ionity charging site equipped with a mix of newer Halo chargers and older stations. I'm charging at one of the older units, but it's working flawlessly. But you can't drive into these charging bays with a trailer attached. These stalls are designed for driving solo. Almost an hour has passed and the battery is nearly full again, so we'll be rolling out shortly. Krumelix just had his morning walk and a little breakfast. I do need to keep an eye on something. One of the pneumatic brake hose couplings is hissing slightly when connected. You sometimes get air leaks if a seal is worn, but in this case, the coupling plug itself seems to be leaking. It's not a major issue, as long as it's just a tiny hiss, but if the leak gets worse, I'll need to repair it. The truck is backed up to the loading dock and is being unloaded. They should be finished any minute now. Once they're done, I'll hit the road right away, as I already have my next assignment lined up. I've made it to Bonndorf and am taking my mandatory rest break. I managed to score a strategic parking spot before the lot filled up quickly. Over there is another Mercedes e-Actros 600, which will probably charge early tomorrow morning. It's 38 degrees Celsius, and it took over 2 hours just to charge the truck from 50% to 100%. I'm on a quick walk with Krumelix and I have to confess something. I think I've reached the point in my life where I care so little about what I look like that I'm going to get myself a proper hat. A standard cap only shields your face, leaving the back of your neck exposed to the sun in these extreme temperatures. So I think I'm going to buy an ugly bucket hat. Anyway, over here, the old gas station is being demolished and 2 new charging stations are already installed and operational. They are among the very first 400 kilowatt units at an Aral station. Aral has been rolling these out for a while, but most were capped at 300 kilowatts. Oddly enough, they don't feature a credit card terminal, which is unusual since those are usually required now. The truck is fully loaded with car batteries stacked in metal crates. It is an enormous number of car batteries. Now we're heading to Wolfsburg, where I have a delivery slot scheduled for tomorrow morning. I'm not under any time pressure, so I'll just see how far I can push today while making sure I secure a good truck parking spot early. This is quite the test for the DAF. Maximum payload weight, scorching summer temperatures, and the air conditioning running non-stop. I ran the numbers. The car batteries are 70 ampere-hour batteries, nearly 1,000 of them in total. That adds up to almost 800 kilowatt hours of total storage capacity, and the trailer is packed to its maximum legal weight limit. And fun fact, did you know 12-volt starter batteries are actually the primary reason electric cars break down? An EV has 2 electrical architectures, a low-voltage 12-volt system for onboard electronics and a high-voltage traction system. Very often the high-voltage pack is completely full, but if the 12-volt auxiliary battery dies, it can't energize the contactor switch needed to engage the main high-voltage battery, leaving the car completely immobilized. So, just like with internal combustion vehicles, a failed 12-volt starter battery remains the #1 cause of roadside breakdowns for EVs as well. I didn't want to drive all the way to Wolfsburg today anyway, but I had to stop early because the energy consumption was sky high from going through the hills. I'm not even sure what this service area is called. It was busy earlier, but it's cleared out now. I just grabbed my parking ticket here in Bockenem. The truck is charging and there are surprisingly plenty of spaces left despite it being quite late. I took the dog out for a quick walk, but honestly, you can barely stand being outside in this heat. It's brutal. My delivery slot is set for 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, and it's only about an hour's drive from here. That means I get at least 11 hours of rest. My plan is to go for an early morning run tomorrow while it's still cool outside. We're on the road and I'll be arriving around 4:48. Even though my delivery appointment isn't until 9, I scheduled a brief phone call in the meantime, so the waiting time fits into my schedule perfectly. Plus, the unloading spot isn't inside the main plant, but at an external warehouse. I already have my follow-up load lined up. I'm picking up cargo in Salzgitter for another VW Group truck manufacturer. I'm just waiting on the final dispatch details for how that pickup will work. Unloading went well, and I'm doing a quick charging session before my next appointment. But something interesting just happened. A Mazda MX-30 pulled up, driven by an older couple. They were struggling a bit with authorizing the session. Accessible, intuitive access to public charging infrastructure still has a long way to go. If you want to pay with a credit card, you can't just tap your card on the terminal. You actually have to tap on active sessions, even though there is no active session running. Then you select your port, but here's the catch. The 3 available options are grayed out, making them look like they're offline or unavailable. In classic UX design, grayed out buttons mean disabled, but here you actually have to select one of those grayed out options and click continue. After you tap your card, the main screen gives no feedback. You suddenly have to look down at the tiny terminal screen to enter your PIN. We still have work to do when it comes to EV charging user experience. Technically, the charging process works, and if you have experience, you can figure it out without much trouble. But for new users or older drivers, there's plenty of room for improvement. It's 40 degrees Celsius out here. I've loaded up some heavy electric motors. I'm out here sweating and slaving away while this guy is just lounging in the truck, enjoying the cold aircon. Something really crazy happened earlier today. As I was pulling out of the rest stop in the morning, I had to set my camera down. Usually I mount my magnetic camera setup onto a nearby light pole where no one notices or runs over it. But this time there wasn't a pole nearby, so I placed the camera directly on the pavement. I drive far enough to get the truck out of the frame, then walk back to pick it up. When I walked back this time, someone was standing there holding my camera. I immediately waved at him and he looked completely caught red-handed and handed it right back to me. You might think he was an opportunistic thief, but looking at it realistically, it's a bit of a gray area. If you leave a valuable item sitting on a table and go to the restroom and someone snatches it, that's outright theft. But if a random camera is sitting unattended in the middle of a busy parking lot, someone might honestly think, why is this sitting here? If I don't pick it up, someone's going to run it over. So I don't want to accuse him of bad intentions, though he probably would have walked off with it if I hadn't turned around. That has never happened to me before, but no harm done. People are just naturally curious. DAF silent mode is surprisingly thorough. It classifies different components throughout the truck into normal and quiet modes, even the horn. Watch this. Right now, silent mode is turned off. But if I activate silent mode, listen to what it sounds like. Okay, that was totally fake, but you almost fell for it, didn't you? And my week is finished. I stopped by the service station in Eikensell earlier to take a shower and stood under freezing cold water for a good 10 minutes. I highly recommend cold showers on days like this. I hope you enjoyed following along this week. Until next time, greetings from Fulda.